All right, this is going to be a 4-week program with Karat and Brilliant Black Minds. I'm going to go through and do a coding challenge every day for 5 days a week for 4 weeks. And so that's 20 coding challenges and also technical interview prep and behavioral interview prep. I think I'm just going to record the technical interview prep. All right, so this coding challenge was deceptively simple or deceptively hard. It looked simple, but it was actually more challenging than I thought. The big thing with this one is just the differentiating between the constructor function, a factory function, and the class syntax introduced in ES6. And so I hadn't seen this in a bit, so I spent probably 15 minutes looking through, trying to remember which one's which, getting familiar with the this syntax, how that's working, asking ChatGPT for an example of how this constructor function could be used to make an object, what that object would look like. And the really confusing thing about this constructor function is that it has a constructor inside of it, another constructor function inside of it. So the larger data structure is the linked list. Inside of that is another constructor function to create the nodes. And so that's also kind of challenging to look at all at once. And then once I sorted all that out, I realized that head and size and add are the 3 methods of that constructor function. And then it was really just jumping into the add method and modifying that to complete the coding challenge. I mostly use ChatGPT to kind of solve the question together with them, kind of following their solution. And then I'm going to come through and actually resolve this problem again on my own, probably tomorrow or another session. And then I uploaded it all to GitHub into my code challenges folder to make sure I get those green squares. And that concludes the first coding challenge. First technical task for the day is rewriting the code from yesterday. Linked lists are not new for me, but again, the class syntax, the constructor function syntax, the factory function syntax is kind of unfamiliar. So I'm basically rewriting the whole linked list constructor and the node constructor function from scratch, from memory as much as possible, active recall, and then into an Anki deck so that I can review this occasionally. That skill active, I guess, in my working memory. Right now, watching a video on the different types of technical interviews, and it looks something like that. Basically, knowledge-based, behavioral, coding, pair programming, take-home projects, design interviews, and just get those different types. Okay, so for the second session today, the second hour of the day, I start off with a technical interview challenge, doing removing items from a linked list, pretty straightforward. Mostly focusing on talking out loud while I solve problems, which is something I kind of do a lot already with my tutoring sessions. After that, I applied to a second job directly through email to a senior engineer at a company, trying to skip the job boards as much as possible and applying to ed tech jobs. That's kind of my area of expertise. And then finish things off with watching a little bit more of the video, overviewing how the live sessions this week are going to go, and how to best tackle LeetCode technical challenges to make the most of my time. And if I didn't already say, I bought a textbook, or a book, which is Cracking the Coding Interview, which is a very famous book. We'll see how that goes. And that rounds out day 2. I will see you all in day 3. This is day 3. The very first order of business is going through a technical challenge, of course. Today was doing 3 methods for linked list, finding an element at, finding the index of an element, and then detecting if a linked list is empty or not. All pretty simple, pretty quick. I jumped into more of the class syntax for ES6, learning about private variables, even though that wasn't really required in the challenge. I was just kind of curious. And also how to call a method inside of an object. Actually, calling a method inside of a method in an object. That was kind of interesting to look up as well. After that, I registered for 2 in-person events here in Los Angeles. So I'm going to go to Demo Day LA for the first time. I'm also going to go to LA Tech Happy Hour on the west side in Santa Monica. And then I'm about to jump on this in-person call for going through technical challenges together. Just got off the call for doing technical challenges together, group setting, There's 2 other people who are active in the session, which is pretty cool. It really does reduce the imposter syndrome to have 2 other people struggling with something that seems kind of simple together. We're going through 2 pointers, and there was some small bug in there that just was not working with the while loop. So I'm going to dig through it this afternoon to figure it out, and then also see how to implement it using the for loop. But it was a really good session. I'm looking forward to Thursday's session. It's nice that I'm doing on my own time linked list, and then also getting into other topics at the same time. It feels like I'm going to get through a lot more content. And it's easier to stay motivated as well. All right, second session today started off with reviewing the code from the live session, finding out the bug in the 2-pointer question. 2 pointers are very weird, very different than other ones where you can kind of sketch out, see all the cases, and then code. You kind of solve it while coding. I don't know if I really like that. I'm going to see if I can find some other ways of approaching 2-pointer questions tomorrow, and also taking a look at the second solution, which is to use an if statement. I'll put some code up at the end. After that, I did a little bit of searching for jobs and applied to 1 or 2 instructor positions for coding, a little bit different. And I still have more stuff to do, but it's already 9 p.m. and there's a lot of work today. So I think I'm going to stop here and try to do a little bit more tomorrow, because tomorrow's a big free day. And I want to get into some behavioral prep. I want to get into more job applications that I didn't really get to today. But that rounds out day 3. I will see you all tomorrow. This is day 4. Very first order of business is going through the technical challenge, which is more linked lists, adding an element at a specified index, getting to more class and constructor function syntax, and looking up some vocabulary for talking through these problems. Second technical challenge is going back and redoing the 2-pointer problem from yesterday, rewriting it from scratch to get some spaced repetition in. And that's it for the morning session. That's 1 hour. All right, so second session today, a little bit longer, hour 45 minutes. Started off with finishing off the video, going through the types of technical interviews. Then I went through and redid LinkedIn, resume, and website portfolio. This is like my 3rd cycle through, so most of those are just about done. I'm going to do a photo shoot tomorrow to get a new headshot across all socials. And then the last hour and a half has been applying to more instructor positions for coding. And had a bunch of them kind of lined up from last night when I stopped at 9 p.m. It's now close to 11 p.m., so pushing it a little bit. I think I want to stick to around 2 hours per day for the technical stuff, and then the rest of the time will be spent doing probably job apps and behavioral practice and flashcards and things like that. They're less brain intensive. But that wraps up day 4, one more day of the first week. This is day 5. I guess for like this is it. Okay, so the audio in the car was not great, so I'm just going to re-record what I said. Started today off with technical challenges in a live session with, again, 2 other engineers. We went through 2 pointers. We went through a medium question, then we started a hard question. After that, it was a quick photo shoot to update profile pictures for all socials. So I still need to upload the pictures, actually. It is 10, almost 11 o'clock. I just got back from the networking event. It went really well. Met a bunch of people, got some great tips on networking through LinkedIn to find connections in ed tech, and found out about a bunch more networking events to go to, so that's really cool. I did not get to a bunch of things today. I needed to get to hash maps and linked lists and finish those. I need to do behavioral prep, flashcards, job applications. There's so much, and today is the last day of the week for me. I do Sundays to Thursday, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to try maybe stay up late tonight, or maybe do a little bit tomorrow, but I really want to keep my weekends free, because when I start to work on my weekends, the burnout comes quickly after that. One good positive news is that I have a interview with a company teaching coding here in Los Angeles, so I'm going to have a call with them next week, most likely. And yesterday I went shopping for business casual, and I did not talk about that, so that's also happening. And oh my gosh, so much more. But that's the gist of it. I'll put the code up at the end as usual, and I will see you all probably next week for week 2. That's the end of week 1. Day 6. First thing to do today was to get into week 2 of the program and start on technical challenges while my brain is fresh. So I started off with doing, what did I work on? Great question. Oh, I took care of what I was supposed to do last week. So hash maps and the last of linked lists. And then I just did my review of the 2-pointers problems from Thursday, going through the solution again. Working a little bit with class syntax once again, and looking up things about instances, method instances, and things like that. Just kind of general review. And that's it for the first hour. The second part of today is building out social networks. So connected with the tech group here in Los Angeles to meet more people. That's always important. And I also volunteered to actually help organize those events. So hopefully that will help in that area. I started to apply for jobs, but after 3 hours of class teaching today, I think I've reached my limit. So I'm going to stop here and pick up tomorrow for day 7. Day 7, starting off with technical challenges, going through LeetCode 1470, which is shuffling an array. Very simple if you've done arrays before. Of course, this is like my 3rd or 4th time through arrays. Second challenge was 52 or 53 LeetCode, which is maximum subarray, which is a little bit harder. But it's really cool working both those problems because this is, again, my 3rd or 4th cycle through. Cycles of learning, reason number 9 from that video. And in the first pass, your awareness is kind of like inside of the car when you're first learning to drive, and then the more you drive, your awareness goes outside of the car and you're kind of looking around more, and that's what it feels like now, which is really cool to see. But that's the morning session, and I also went through the week 2 content, looking at all types of technical interviews, how to prep for technical interviews again, and what else? Just, I guess, what's coming later on in the week. So later today, I'm going to get into behavioral prep, STAR method, flashcards, and then applying to jobs. The book finally came in, and I've started ordering things off of eBay because, Amazon and all the concerns with Amazon not treating their workers correctly. But the funny thing is that a lot of packages that you order off of eBay now come in Amazon packaging because most of the sellers work at Amazon. But despite this content all being available online, probably for free, sometimes it's nice to get away from a screen and be outside, away from, I guess I'm recording this on a screen right now, but away from a laptop screen, getting to be out in nature and relax a little bit. It is 8 o'clock. I just wrapped up with a 3rd tutoring session today. In the middle of the day, I got to do the book in the park, and I also applied to a job, which I'm really excited about, actually. And I also know someone who works at the company, so I reached out to them, and they might be able to be a referral into that position, which is EdTech. And the engineering culture there looks really kind and empathetic and welcoming. And so I'm really excited about that. I got my fingers crossed for it. And I think I'm going to do a little bit more reading tonight, try to get to flashcards, but not push it. And tomorrow I have less work, so I'm going to try to get to more things than on day 8, because today was very full again. So that's just how it is sometimes. I've tried pushing, in previous years, and it's led to burnout. So this year is about balance as much as possible. All right, I will see you tomorrow. Okay, so second session of the day is getting into STAR questions, which I've been pushing off for a bit. So I'm going to show you the workflow. I'm starting with the behavioral questions. This list is from 100 devs, and you can find it at community.org or .com. And I'm taking those behavioral questions, answering them myself, and then asking ChatGPT to put my answers into STAR format. And then going back over here to Anki and putting those into an Anki deck so that I get to review them and basically at the top of my mind when I'm in a behavioral interview. So it's probably going to take today, tomorrow, maybe even the day after that, a couple days to get all of these updated in my Anki deck, and then I'll be pretty well set for the behavioral part of the interview. So that's really cool. Alright, so just did 2 LeetCode challenges, very simple. Working with strings, which I have not done in forever. Working with arrays, also I haven't really done a whole lot of that type of DSA type work. So one was reversing a string, which in JavaScript is literally just a built-in function. Second one was seeing if a string is an anagram. That one's also very simple. You can sort the string and compare which, if you know how to do, works. Or you can count the number of characters in the string. Not a whole lot to do with those, mostly, again, just reviewing skills that I haven't seen in forever. I might try to get to a medium question today, but I also have a live coding session here in an hour, so I'm probably just going to go through and do that and then save the last couple of challenges for the rest of the week. Just finished with the live session. We got into sliding window this week, talking about a new data structure I've never used before, sets, which would have been really helpful for some previous problems I've solved. So I'm going to go through and try to do probably that on Thursday, not do that on my own time. Use the rest of this week to focus on arrays and lists. But if I have extra time, I will get into a sliding window and see how that goes. Alright, second session, getting onto LinkedIn to connect with people and ask for coffee chats. That's something I did not really do the very first time I went through my networking cycle last year. And first thing was learning how to ask for coffee chats. And I also got LinkedIn Premium for a month for free to see if there's any benefit to that. It's $20 a month after, so I might keep it maybe just for the next couple of months as I'm networking. We'll see. Then I set off maybe 5 or 6 messages to kind of cold calls to people who worked at the company that I went to apply to. Very first thing today is technical challenges, of course, while the brain is fresh. And let me switch over. Basically, on the left-hand side, I got a whiteboard, just sketching out things as I go through the problems, talking out loud, of course, learning vocab. And then over here, on the other side of the screen, I went through 2 challenges today. The first one was longest palindrome, and that one went really well. Had to do a lot of looking up syntax for dictionaries and hash maps. I haven't done that in a bit, and accessing them dynamically, and also checking to see if there's counts in an object. And then I moved over to sliding window problem that we started yesterday, and I've half solved this one. So finish it tomorrow morning, and then go into live session, discuss it with the class, and then probably do another sliding window problem. But that is the very start of the morning, and I will check back in soon. All right, the last thing I did today was to update the flashcard deck with more star responses for the behavioral questions. And then later tonight, I'm going to try and go through that deck and review technical and behavioral questions, and run that today. Oh, also sign up for a couple of in-person networking events this week and next week as well. So quite a full day again. Alright, it is day 10, the last day of week 2 already, which is crazy. The weeks are flying by. The very beginning of this morning, I did technical challenges. I wrapped up the first sliding window problem that I started on Tuesday. That was, in hindsight, or retrospect, much easier than I thought it was. Then we jumped to the live session, and we solved 2 more sliding window problems, and they're getting a lot more easy. I'm starting to see the similarities between them. There are a lot of ways to solve sliding window problems, so I feel like I'm going to have to do a lot of practice of taking one question that I've already solved and solve it like 4 different ways, just to get really familiar with sets and hash maps and all the ways that those work. In the middle of the day, I went in, applied to a job, and sent off messages for coffee chats with people at that company. And tomorrow, even though it is after the work week, I'm going to do a little bit of work on Fridays moving forward, because my Sundays are usually pretty light in terms of software dev stuff and pretty heavy in terms of work stuff. So Friday morning is going to get into, again, technical challenges. There's a networking event on the west side of Los Angeles tomorrow night, so I'm going to go to that as well. And tonight I want to get into adding more star format behavioral questions to the flashcard deck, apply to more jobs if possible, get to the book maybe. There's so much to do, oh my gosh. And that will round out week 2. It is day 11, first day of week 3. A lot happened over the weekend. So on Friday, I did not have any deep focus left in me, so I didn't do any technical challenges on Friday. I think trying to do 3 in one day was too much, so that's a good lesson to learn. That evening I went to the West Side Tech event. That was great. I met the organizers, talked about hosting the event, which we're going to be hosting in Long Beach on November 21st. Met some amazing engineers and people in tech, so I'm going to try to go to, I think, as many in-person events as possible to network. I think I do really well in person and not so great online. I think it's just because online is crazy nowadays with AI and bots and everything. So that's going to be the approach. This week, I have a speed networking event on Wednesday. I have another in-person networking event on Saturday. I have a coffee chat tomorrow, my very first coffee chat, so I'm really excited about that. So yeah, this week is going to be really great. First session of the day was a tutoring session, and it went really well. I think one thing that I don't give myself credit enough for is that tutoring at the high school and college level takes a lot of deep focus, which takes away from my ability to do deep focus for coding and technical challenges. I know that's obvious, but I think like, oh, I've been teaching for 11 years, like I should be able to do it without thinking, but that's never really true. After the first session, I did my first technical challenge, which was finishing up the sliding window problem from Thursday last week, which is the fruits into baskets leak code 904, and that was not too bad. There's kind of 2 ways to solve those questions. One way is to just increment the left and right pointers one at a time. The other way is to teleport the left pointer if you provide a little bit of extra information about the indices where things are happening. So that's really cool to see and explore and play with. But that is the first session of the day. Alright, so second half of the day, I got into the book, Cracking the Coding Interview, looking at the behavioral part of the interview, how to walk through a resume, how to answer those questions with context. Then I also went into LinkedIn, sent more messages to people at ed tech companies, specifically people who, again, are software engineers / educators, creative technologists. One of the really cool things about networking is not just trying to find a company to apply to, but learning what those roles are like and kind of deciding where I want to go with the tech career. So that's been a really cool part of just meeting people. You just get to learn a lot about some really interesting topics and decide, again, what my future next 5 years might look like. So if I have more time tonight, when I get into flashcards, I always push that off, and I want to apply to some jobs. It always gets pushed off to the last minute. But again, tutoring is kind of taking some of my deep focus away that I could put towards the job hunt. If you're worried about the job market, the best thing is to go and talk with people in real life. It is day 12 of 20 in the job prep path search, whatever you want to call it. Started today off with a coffee chat with an engineer working at a university here in SoCal. That was really cool to get like an inside view of what software engineering and academia mixed together looks like. And again, yeah, just kind of carrying that imposter syndrome, seeing what people are doing, how they get into the jobs. It's networking, which my younger self probably would not want to hear that, but it's true. You have to go out there and meet people. It's the best way to expand your professional network and land jobs and opportunities. After that, I jumped into technical challenge. I started off with a sliding window problem from last week, a medium one. My brain kind of fried, so I tried a stack question, valid parentheses, which I've done before, but I solved it a different way this time through, which is really cool. And I solved it a lot faster. Just hard coding things in instead of trying to use a hash map. And that is the morning session. I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break, eat lunch, and then I'm going to get into job applications first and reviewing flashcards because I keep pushing that off. I will see you probably later in the day. All right, it is the end of day 11. Middle of the day, I got into filling out the table of how to talk through my resume. I'll put that on the screen someplace. And that took most of the afternoon. I also went job searching. I haven't applied to jobs, but I found some to apply to and people to connect with. Oh my gosh, what else? I also went through all the content for this week in regards to behavioral interviews, technical interviews, the structure, and the content inside of the Karat Brilliant Black Minds program is actually content from this book. So a little bit of overlap there. And did a little bit more shopping for business casual wear for networking events. and also I'm deciding on what to do for my next project. I think my focuses for the next project is going to be getting a really good AI workflow, and I really want to get into system design like architecture, testing, and optimization with the next project. I might go back and rework old projects or build a whole new project. I haven't decided yet, but that's all going to happen after I get through the bulk of this DSA, this 4-week program. I'm going to start getting into building something because I want another big project on my resume basically. So excited to get started on that. I have some ideas and I'll share those as I flesh it out more and more. But yeah, it's day 11 and I will see you tomorrow. It is day 13. Started off with LeetCode 225, which is building stacks using 2 queues. I cheated and just used a single array and used the built-in methods. Mostly because my brain's tired, but also because I have a live session after this doing another coding challenge. I don't want to do too much in one day. I also wanted to learn a bunch about a couple things. So JavaScript does not have a native queue structure, so that's the first thing. I'd never seen DQ and NQ before, and so I looked those up, how to pronounce them, whether, again, JavaScript has native queue support. Then I got into prototypes and how inheritance works in JavaScript, which I haven't seen in a bit. Got back into class syntax. So this particular JavaScript code was using the prototype syntax to add methods to the class object. So I wanted to get familiar with that again. And so I mostly did research building the foundations to solve this problem tomorrow. And sometimes that's how the technical challenges go some days. So some days it's prep, and some days it's actually solving the question. But that is the very first thing this morning. I'm going to try to do a little job applications before the live session here in 30 minutes, and then I will check back in later. Just finished the live technical questions session, and we managed to solve LeetCode 424, longest repeating character replacement. My brain was tired before I started, tired during the session, tired after. But it was really cool trying to work through together with 2 other people because it felt very much like an actual technical interview. And my problem is always getting like halfway through the solution. I'm writing the code and I lose my train of thought where the logic is kind of flowing through the diagram and what we thought out previously. So I think I need to work on that part of solving live in front of someone else, keeping the train of thought going, asking questions, keep maintaining momentum. But we solved that, and I think I'm going to take a break in the afternoon. And it is the end of day 13. I hope I got that right. And 2 tutoring sessions, coding challenge in the morning, a live coding session. Went through the book, going through big annotation again, and applied jobs, sent off messages for copy chats, connected with someone else for another networking event for tech in Los Angeles. It was busy. I also feel burned out. I think I did too much yesterday. I ended the day like 11 p.m. still working. And then today, doing the 2 technical challenges back to back. I was already kind of fried before that and even more fried after. So I think I'm going to take the rest of the day off. It's like 8 p.m. already anyway. And then hopefully tomorrow I'll be feeling a little bit better and then get back into more job applications, more copy chats, more messages, reaching out to more people, and just pushing a little bit each day at a sustainable rate. It is a marathon, not a sprint. And I will see you all tomorrow. It is day 14, morning session, which is an hour of technical challenges. So I did more work on LeetCode 225, I want to say, which is building a stack using queues. I spent all today just building out a linked list class from scratch to practice class syntax, constructor function syntax, looking at the differences between ES 2022 and ES 6 2015 and how they build classes and constructors. So I built the whole linked list code and the node class from scratch to do all that, and then tomorrow I'm going to probably finish that challenge. Then in the second half, the next 30 minutes, I worked on LeetCode 424, which is what we did in the live session yesterday and last week as well. And I rewrote that solution from scratch. So that was the morning session. So as soon as I finished the technical challenge, I got an email from a company I applied to a month ago, and they sent over an email pre-screen. So I spent probably an hour, I think. Felt like an hour. Maybe it was like 30 minutes. Researching the company, answering maybe 7 to 8 questions, and running it through ChatGPT to make sure the writing is concise and clean and full of errors, things like that, and finding the job description, because the job description was taken down. I applied to it over a month ago, so I found a cache of it somewhere on the internet. I really don't know how people apply to hundreds of jobs and apply to multiple pre-screens, because it's so time intensive for every single application, every pre-screen, every phone interview. You have to go and do research, look up the company. Maybe I'm doing too much, but yeah, that was the afternoon. I was supposed to go take a break, but it's now 2:30. I'm going to go take a walk. All right, it is 8 p.m. Just wrapped up the speed networking event like an hour ago. And then I spent the last hour going through messaging everyone on LinkedIn, connecting, setting up a coffee chat with one of them, finding out about a bunch, oh my gosh, do that 5 times fast, of EdTech VR XR companies here in Los Angeles. That's really cool. And that is enough work to wrap up the day. I think 2 hours straight of just go, talking with people and messaging people is more than enough work. I wanted to apply to more jobs in the middle of the day, and that did not happen, which again, I'm okay with. I think right now I'm in the phase of getting DSA and behavioral interview prep down. I think after these 4 weeks are up, I'm going to try to go and do more of that. But then also with jobs kind of reaching back out a month later, it does kind of make sense. It's an awful lot of applications right now as well. But tomorrow's going to be a full day of work, so I'm just going to try to do as much as possible and cross my fingers, and I will see you all tomorrow. It is day 15, the last day of week 3 already. Started today off with a 20-minute coffee chat with a data analyst on the East Coast, talking about their career, what they're up to, what their day-to-day looks like, working for a financial company. That was really cool. After that, I got into the first technical challenge, which was to finally do LeetCode 225. So I had to make a couple adjustments to my shoddy little linked list class, but once that was done, actually solving the question probably 10 minutes or so, pretty quick. So again, more focus really on the class syntax. This syntax still hurts my brain, so I need to get more practice with that. And I'm about to jump into a live session, and I will see you soon. The live technical coding challenge session. Someone brought in a technical challenge from a job interview that they had at Bloomberg, and we worked through that together. It ended up being a LeetCode medium question, I think 1029. And just like being in a live session, again, solving problems with other people, it's a very different process than solving a problem on your own. It's such good practice, honestly, to be able to ask questions and take feedback live as you're solving through a question. It's a really good skill to build, so that was a really productive session. And I will see you all later today. All right, it is 9 p.m. Most of the middle of the day was spent working. It was a long work day, like I expected it to be. I got a pre-screen test, like a technical challenge to complete for one of the applications. That's probably going to take an hour or two. I have another job that's right up my alley. It's EdTech, but I need to build a full stack app for the application. So that full stack app is probably going to take a couple of hours. And it's the end of the last day of week 3, so I don't know what I'm going to do. I think maybe tomorrow I'm going to try to get a lot of stuff done. It's going to be rainy and cloudy this weekend, so I probably won't be outside. But at the same time, I said I wouldn't work on my weekend, so we will see what happens tonight and tomorrow. I will update all of you on week 4, the last week. It is day 16. It was quite the weekend, so it did flood and rain the entire weekend here in Los Angeles, which was very cozy. Spent most of the weekend inside. I did, in fact, spend my weekend coding. So Friday night, actually Thursday night I started the project. Friday night I picked it up, and Saturday night I finished it. Today I started off with a 1-hour assessment for a job going through 2 technical challenges. I did great with the first one, got 100% on that. Second one, I got through half the solution, so not a good chance that I move forward with that Java application. It was for people who do C and C++ as well, so that's another reason that I probably won't get it, but it was good practice, and I learned a lot, and you never really lose with doing an assessment. You see more technical questions, you build your skills, so I kind of view it that way. After that, I went and submitted the job application for that full stack app that I built over the weekend. That took literally the whole morning and part of the afternoon. So I was updating GitHub and my portfolio and my LinkedIn and sending off a personalized message on LinkedIn to the recruiter and a cover letter and tailoring my resume, which took like half an hour to an hour. Completing the application. It was so much work. So really proud of that, really excited about the opportunity. It's EdTech, which is, again, right up my lane. Great skill match. So got my fingers crossed for that. And that's the first half of the day. I really shouldn't do anything else, but I'm going to try to do a little bit more in the evening. So I will check back in then. My second part of today, I got into all the content, video content, about talking about what week 4 is going to entail, which is trees and graphs, which I really want to get into. I don't know that much about them. Also starting to think about what to do after this 4th week is over. System design, there's some system design live sessions that are happening, so I want to get into that eventually. And this weekend was really cool because I got into building a full stack project, looking at AI workflows, which I want to get more into. The networking event over the weekend got canceled because of all the rain, and I think later tonight I'm going to get into flashcards, and I don't think I'm going to do any more job applications or technical challenges, but I kind of want to get into recursion a little bit. That was a topic from last week that I didn't really do. I spent most of my time doing classes and linked lists and the stacks and queues, which actually helped on that technical challenge in today's pre-assessment. So yeah, I'll try to do what I can, and then tomorrow I will get into the bulk of things. I also want to analyze how I'm spending my days, because I feel like my consistency is good in the first half of the day, but not that great of the second half of the day. But anyway, that is day 16, the first day of week 4, and I will see you tomorrow. It is day 17 of 20. Started today off with a coffee chat with a fellow person from EdTech. Well, they worked at EdTech previously. And that was a really interesting chat. They're a founder for a startup, and they worked as a data engineer, software engineer, had some recommendations on places to look for EdTech jobs specifically, which is really cool. And it's always amazing just connecting with other fellow math nerds and software devs. So that was really cool. And after that, I went over to the job site they recommended, found some jobs that I went to apply to, people I went to reach out to at those companies. I went through all of my job notifications from my email inbox, which is across like 5 different places right now, Built-in and LinkedIn and Indeed and ZipRecruiter. Anything that pops up that looks like it's a match. And some of those are just sending off resume. So I did 1 or 2. I think it was 1. And I'm going to try to do job applications first and then technical challenges after. I'm trying to take today and be a little bit more slow because the weekend, of course, was doing too much. And even though I feel good right now, I know that if I keep pushing in this way for too long, it will lead to burnout. So I'm going to slow down today a little bit. There's a bunch of networking events this week and meeting people and just all sorts of stuff. So I will check back in later today, and that is the start of day 17. It is the end of day 17. Today was super full, as expected. I got to absolutely nothing in the afternoon but work. I got to a recursion problem, the simplest one imaginable, Fibonacci number, and I solved that iteratively, recursively, and with a cache, just to do that again really quick, probably 15 minutes total for all 3 methods. And that's it. So that's how some days go. Tomorrow's going to be even busier, so I'm going to cross my fingers I get something done, but not expecting much. I didn't talk about Ruby on Rails yesterday, so I'll try to get into that maybe tomorrow, but the latest project was Ruby on Rails to the backend, actually for the front end as well. And that was a really cool thing to see compared to Node and Express, but I will talk about that maybe once I get more into it. Anyway, that's the end of day 17, and I will see you all tomorrow. It is November 18th. It is 12:30 a.m. Actually, so it's November 19th. But anyway, it's day 18 of 20. The longest day ever, the day that will not end. Started off at 6 a.m. Didn't get to... Actually, no, I did. I got two flashcards in the early morning during a doctor's appointment. going through behavioral prep, technical questions, things like that. Then when I got back home, I jumped into a live technical session and we went through breadth first and depth first search and tree traversal in order, pre-order, post-order, level order. And then I jumped into LeetCode 104, maximum depth of a binary tree. Solved that the lazy quick way, kind of like vibe coded it, not using, well, a little bit of AI, just to like, jump back into binary trees again. Tomorrow I'm going to get into in order, post order, pre-order, and then try to get some more recursion and backtracking. A bunch of classes in the middle of the day and an evening event, and then I got home at like 11 p.m. And I just sent off 2 job apps, which I'm actually really excited about both of those. First one, I kind of just sent it off, not a super good match, but the second one was ed tech, right up my alley, tutoring and software development mixed together. So I got my fingers crossed for that. I really love the app that I just sent over, so we'll see. And that is the whole day. Tomorrow's going to be a little bit lighter, so I'm going to try to get more things done. And then there's a networking event tomorrow evening, so yeah, that's day 18, and I will see you all tomorrow or today. It is day 19 of 20. We're down to the last 2 days. Started today off with going through all the binary tree stuff from yesterday. So that's the maximum depth of a subtree, doing it the clean, efficient way. Pre-order traversal, in-order traversal, post-order traversal. That was for LeetCode problems, pretty quick. Got back into closures, which I haven't seen since dynamic programming, I think, a couple months ago, a year ago. And after that, I connected with some people on LinkedIn and started looking at some system design resources for maybe the next 4 weeks or the next 4 weeks after that. Got 2 rejections, one for pre-assessment I did last week. It was based in Virginia, and they preferred people who were there local, so that's not a huge surprise. Second rejection was for the technical challenge that I did on Sunday, which, again, I failed the second question, and it was for a language that I'm not really that familiar in, so also not super surprising there. And then that's the morning. I'm going to get into job applications right after I go outside and get some sun because it's been raining for forever, which is like 5 days here in Los Angeles, and then I will check back in later. All right, it is the second half of the day. I got to flashcard review in the afternoon, then had the networking event, which ended about an hour ago or so. That was a really cool event. It was less swapping LinkedIns and more just connecting with people and making friends, which I need to expand my tech group of friends and my math group of friends. And I got ideas for the next project that I want to do. After talking with the senior engineer there, I think my next project is going to be full stack, TypeScript, Node, React, and Postgres on the back end. And then I might try to squeeze some AWS into that whole project. And then at the same time, of course, developing a good AI workflow throughout all of that. I think I might start on that this weekend. I've been kind of itching to build something after doing the Ruby on Rails last weekend. So I will keep you posted on that. And that is the end of day 19. And I will see you all tomorrow for the last day of this challenge. It is day 20 of 20. Started today off with a live session going through more binary tree traversals. So we got to the level order traversal, which is breadth first search. And then we got to another simple or easy LeetCode question, 2 trees or same tree. And so that's the morning session. Rest of the day is going to be demo day LA, so I will check back in after that.
I've had a very weird career. So I started
just one after another of AI pitches that are promising me.
It is the end of day 20 of 20. Just got back from demo day LA. It was from 3:34, basically until 8, so it was basically half a day. I think it's probably one of my favorite events that I've gone to in Los Angeles. It really felt like the center, like the heart of LA's tech scene, where there was like a bunch of really high quality investors asking really good questions, and then those investors went up and did fireside chats talking about their entire careers and how they got into the positions that they're in. The pitches were everything from like half of a vibe to people that were actually bringing in revenue and had like 5-year plans. So it was really cool. It was really welcoming. I felt like anyone could get up on stage and present if they had an idea. And it was thoughtful. It was encouraging. And even though I don't think it was necessarily like a networking event, I met so many people there and really excited to connect with them and see where those connections lead in the future. So I can't imagine a better way to really wrap up this whole 4-week challenge. And tomorrow I'm going to kind of summarize all my thoughts of the last 4 weeks, make a plan for the next 4 weeks, and I will talk to you then. It is the end of the 4-week challenge, the day after the end of the 4-week challenge. So this is all the things that I took away from this process. I got to do 20 job applications, 6 rejections, 1 coffee chat out of like 15 requests, 6 networking events attended, 50 new LinkedIn connections, most of them here in Los Angeles, which is really cool. And I've hosted one event, which is actually happening tonight. Mock interview next week to see how my DSA and technical interview skills have been building. I would say that my motivations to do this challenge was rejection therapy, asking and receiving no's and being okay with that, putting myself out there, which I haven't really done that much, and opening basically every door to step into a new job. Also, external accountability. I want people to watch and make sure that I stick to what I say I'm going to do. I usually find that it takes like 40 days to build a habit, and so this is a chance to start doing that every day, a little bit every day. It has technically been more than 20 days, but we're going to pretend like it's only been 20. I want to grow this channel and the YouTube channel, so just consistently posting something, and that has somehow turned into making math videos once a week as well, which is really cool. I also want to just be more objective, and I think watching these videos back, it is a really great way to see yourself in third person and know if you're doing well or not well, and not being hypercritical or being too easy on yourself. So that's worked really well. I want to encourage more women and minorities to get into STEM, into tech, into software. We are far and few in between, so hopefully that's helping a little bit in that area. And honestly, just talking about AI with other engineers, I feel a little bit overwhelmed with how fast things are moving. And talking with so many people in tech over the last month has kind of eased those worries a little bit. Not that it's not bad, but that everyone's kind of facing it. And so you can either really embrace it or kind of run away from it. And I'm trying to lean into embracing it. And also, I guess a big realization of the last 4 weeks is just networking can be a way to land a job, but it's actually really interesting to just stay curious and listen to people's stories and what positions they're in and what roles they're in. There are so many career paths within tech, and I might not end up as a software engineer, and I think I'd be okay with that as long as the work is really interesting and the team of people is really cool. I think what went well is that I built a really solid foundation for data structures and algorithms, and I'm getting better at implementing my solutions into code. Got back into full stack development, building full stack projects, getting my AI workflow down, rebuilding my resume, first coffee chat ever, rebuilding my socials, new profile pictures. What didn't go as well as I wanted it to was to get more behavioral prep, system design practice. That's maybe not that big of a deal in the first 4 weeks. And I want to do more job applications, maybe like at least 5 a day or at least 3 a day. And I was going to say more coffee chats, but I think I've been networking enough that I've actually talked to enough people in person that I kind of get my coffee chats that way. But I'm going to try to keep an eye on that number in the next 4 weeks as well. But that is the first 4 weeks. I will see you in the next 4 weeks.